Christmas store.
Someone was finishing high
Are
school,
not increased
so
the Christmas store.
She
Yeah,
found
our clients so far that have applied,
right on
Yeah.
Christmas,
pretty close to
Okay.
last year. We haven't had a
pretty
big
much right on that
increase,
same.
which I'm
Yeah, I saw
surprised.
some apartments right there.
Yeah, it was just her and the girls.
But we don't have any type of.
So when we came here, we stayed there for about 2 years, and then we bought my house.
All right, good evening. It is 7 o'clock on December 1st, and we will call the meeting to order. If you'll please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Larry will start us off. Thank you very much. All right, we are going to move on to item number 2, which is public comments on our agenda for tonight. If you are here to talk about item number 4, which is the public hearing, we will have open comments time during that session of the agenda. But if you're here to address the Plan Commission about anything else, now would be your time to come forward. So please, if you have any comments, come to the podium, state your name and address. Any public comments? All right, seeing none, we will close item 2 on the agenda. We are going to move on to item number 3, approval of Plan Commission minutes for October 20th, 2025. Commissioners, any comments or corrections for the Plan Commission minutes? All right, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, let's do roll call.
Vice Chairperson Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Curtis,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Lyman,
Aye.
Commissioner Scary,
Aye.
Commissioner Sowers,
Aye.
Chairperson Kness.
Aye. All right, that passes 8-0. Thank you. Moving on from item number 3, we are moving on now to item number 4, the public hearing 4A. We are looking at a conditional use permit request by Clayco LLC property owner and applicant to allow a planned housing development of 28 multifamily residential dwelling units on approximately 2.031 acres located northwest of the intersection of Crispin Street Southwest and First Street Southwest, between 101 Crispin Street Southwest and 400 West Main Street, consisting of all the tax parcel 526-A-138, parcel ID 013446, zone multifamily residential district R3. The property is designated as residential on the future land use map of the 2013 Christiansburg Comprehensive Plan. At this time, we'll first start off with a presentation from staff on anything that we should know about this public hearing. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. The purpose of this request is to permit the use of a planned housing development, or PHD, with a proposal of 28 residential units on approximately 2.031 acres. Multifamily development is a by right use on this property, and the proposed development aligns with most multifamily development regulations. However, it requests deviations from the standard unit count in a singular building and maximum height of the structure. It is because of those proposed deviations that you have before you the conditional use permit request for planned housing. In the table provided to the Commission in the staff report, you'll see that the applicant has proposed 14 units per building, which is more than the R3 district standard of 12. Additionally, the applicant is asking for a maximum height allowance of 43 feet, opposed to the standard 35 feet. The applicant has not proposed an increased setback to account for the increased height. This increased height is often accommodated by an increase in minimum setbacks of 1 foot for each foot in height over 35 feet. The proposed rear setbacks would not meet an increased setback requirement of this type, though the side and front setbacks would. This project aligns with the town's comprehensive plan and future land use map, located partially within the downtown urban development area, offering additional multifamily housing in an area deemed appropriate for higher density. The applicant has not suggested any conditions. The town staff recommends the following conditions. Number 1, the project shall be developed in general conformance with the master plan submitted dated September 22nd, 2025. Number 2, The approved conditional use permit shall only be for the specific residential use as described in the application. And number 3, the applicant shall maintain a row of no fewer than 5 evergreen screening trees along the shared boundary with tax parcel 526-A-136. And staff is available for any questions.
Thank you so much. All right, at this point, I'm going to open the public hearing, public comments. So if you have anything you wish to share or speak about regarding this conditional use permit, you're welcome to come to the podium. Please state your name, address, and then we're going to try and limit comments to 5 minutes. So if you have anything to say, now would be the time to come to the podium.
Good evening. Steve Simonis with Balzer & Associates, 80 College Street. Got Ian Friend, who's our developer partner on this. Ian's going to give a quick background on the property, and then I'll jump into a few more of the details, and we'll try to keep it, Chairman Canese, to as close to 5 minutes as we can. Currently, the property is, thank you. Currently, the property is this 2.03 acres right here. It's currently vacant. This went up for auction a few years ago, and our client purchased that along with these 2 parcels right here, which are currently used as rentals, rental homes and a rental apartment right here. And we started this project as a by right R3, and I'd like Ian to kind of explain to Planning Commission why we're here in front of you tonight.
Yeah, so we came in with that project a few years ago. We went through the bidding process of several iterations, trying to work out materials and different things, and just with the increase of prices, it just economy of scales, it wasn't working out. And this isn't something that we want to charge super high dollar rent for. We want to have a reasonable rent for this property. So economies of scale, we're coming in and trying to get a couple more units for each building to make those economy of scales work. So that's why we're coming back a few years later.
So we came in originally and we had 20 units proposed on the project by right. So this is the property right here. As you can see, the intersection right here first, an angle. This is where our access would be, which we'll show in a minute. Chrisman here on your left. And as you can see, the property drops off quite a bit from the top here at this corner down towards the existing house. So this is the property layout. The by right scenario, the by right project we showed was basically this exact same project minus these additional parking spaces. So we picked up some additional parking right here with the addition of the 4 units per building. So we were at 10 units per building at 20, so we basically added a floor to that to get to 14 units per building with a total of 28 total units. As we added that, that's where it kind of kicked us up into the height, and I'm going to show a couple of exhibits here on the height. Setbacks, as Devin mentioned, we do have larger setbacks than are what required, and we did have a typo in our application. The rear setback that she mentioned was 24.9, actually should have been 27.9. I think I just fat fingered it when I was typing on the text. So that's this dimension right here. So we've got the room to move that over a couple more feet and get us over that 28 feet, which is what is listed there in the staff report, to get us over for the additional height that we're asking for the additional setbacks. I think it's important to note, these are primarily 1 and 2 bedroom units in this. So each building would have 4 1-bedroom units, 7 2-bedroom units, and only 3 3-bedroom units. So again, these are small. These are smaller 1 and 2 bedrooms primarily. These would be 3 floors with a 4th floor kind of set in a basement grade on this lower side. So you'd have 3 floors on this side and 4 on the other facing out towards Main. But as you'll see in the elevations here, this is the front floor. The front facing is where we measure our height from. As you can see, we do have the 1 access point. We have parking. Around this, we have a 1-way drive. We do have water and sewer. Water and sewer would be accessed off of Chrisman that we'd bring into the property. We have a fire hydrant shown in our original design that would be right here that would help with fire access and EMS service. We can make a fire truck movement and EMS movements through the parking lot here. I know that's something we always talk about here, to be sure we've got that included. We would be adding curb and gutter and sidewalk along this section of Christmas Street, which is required by town code, so that would be on there. We'd actually also be fixing some drainage issues that are existing along Chrisman that would be part of our stormwater management plan. You see a big dash line here that says SWM. That's our stormwater management facility that we'd have to have, based on state and local requirements for stormwater. Ian's company also has an internal project or property management company, so they would be doing all the property management on the site in perpetuity. That would mean maintenance on the open space, on the stormwater, pushing snow in the parking lot, and then any building, exterior, interior renovations or work that would need to be done. That would be handled by Ian and his team. You see the private dumpster here, so that would just be a private trash collection at that location right there. As Devin also mentioned, we did look at the comprehensive plan. It is within the residential section of the comprehensive plan. And I'm glad she brought up the fact of the urban development area. This is an area that we say in the comprehensive plan we want to bring some more housing. Housing opportunities in downtown are extremely limited. So we're not asking for a crazy high density on this. As was mentioned in the staff report, we're asking for a little over 13, I think 13.7, 13.8 units per acre as opposed to the by right at 10. So we are asking for a little higher density in this, but in order to get a project that we hope would be geared towards young professionals and young folks maybe moving into the downtown, walkable to our shops and our stores and our restaurants, we think it'd be a good use for the property. Lastly, we read through the conditions as presented by staff, and we're in agreement with all three of those. We'd be happy to answer any questions now or after we get any public comment.
Let me just then make the quick clarifying. So then the only deviation at this point would be that you're requesting 14 units, which is over the 12. So we're looking at the height, but you are in fact adjusting for that height increase by adjusting the setback to the 28, if not slightly more.
Correct.
Okay. just
And I,
wanna make
and I
sure.
will show this. I wanted to be sure Planning Commission saw this. So this red text was not in our application material, but that's the actual height of the building. So it's 41.9. We went 43 just to give us a little bit of buffer the way the town measures height. It's from kind of the ground plane. So not exactly sure how the grading, if we'd have a step or step down to the curb. So we wanted to give ourselves a little bit, but the actual height of the building is 41.9. And just for reference, you see where 35 feet is basically that line right there. So if we wanted to do a flat roof with a parapet, we could actually stay under that height, but it doesn't match in with the adjacent neighborhoods from an architectural standpoint. So we thought the gabled roof matched better. So which is why we're up at that height right there. But just again, I thought that was important for reference. But you can see the materiality of the project itself. You've got brick, you've got some stone, we've got siding. Each of the units here on both sides of the building would have outdoor patios and decks. So a nice looking building, and we'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. And I'm going to correct my own statement, which is that there are still the two deviations, which is 14 units instead of 12 and 43 instead of 35. However, you have taken that into consideration for the setback, which was a
We just
takeout.
need to update
Yep.
the text in the
Okay.
document. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to correct my own statement. Thank you. Any other comments regarding this public hearing? Please come to the podium and state your name and your address.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ramey Steinrich. I live at 121 Longview Drive. My next door neighbor prepared a statement, and she got really ill this afternoon, and she asked me if I would read it for you. Her name is Kay Carter Cooper, and she's at 110 Highview, excuse me. And what she writes is, "My name is Kay Carter Cooper. Generations of my family have sat in seats similar to yours, making hard decisions about zoning and expansions. I know from their experience and my own upbringing that good planning requires matching development to infrastructure and fitting it into the surrounding neighborhood. Approving this complex of this size does the following: increasing the density of the neighborhood by 50%, increases the direct street housing density by 700%. She writes that the design does not fit the neighborhood of the majority of single-family homes, not enough green space to meet the 28 new households or 400 square foot per dwelling. She cites a hazardous 30-foot drop for the stormwater retention pond, which appears to be what they're considering green space in the plans. She's concerned about light pollution to the neighborhood, not enough parking spaces for the number of parking, which includes handicapped and EV spaces. This will cause overflow to the parking on narrow neighborhood streets. It's misleading to call this the Chrisman and West Main apartments since it connects neither of those roads. Entry roads are narrow and wouldn't accommodate the added traffic. I'm not opposed to all development, but opposed to trying to fit too much into a space with infrastructure that simply cannot support it. I ask that this plan be denied the conditional use based on the immediate safety risks to current residents and the overall incompatibility with the neighborhood. And I wanted to ask if this development aligns with the town's comprehensive plan for preserving and establishing neighborhoods. Thank you for your time. And I would add just my concerns for the traffic that this project would bring in. Where you're looking at on First and Angle, it's already a very precarious, narrow spot. If you turn from Main Street onto Highview, that's a very precarious turn I make every day coming and going from work. And that is very concerning to me when I think about this many more cars coming in and out. And so I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Brooks, and I am living at 114 Longview Drive, which is the unit directly across of Angle Drive where it meets Longview. So I'm here to comment on the conditional use permit request for the proposed apartment development. First, I want to be very clear that I recognize the need for additional housing in and around Christiansburg, and that includes higher density housing. However, I am concerned that the proposed housing development will create challenges for the neighborhood. The proposal has vehicle access through both Angle Drive and First Street. These are both small, narrow roads. They are currently used almost exclusively by vehicles who are accessing the few houses that exist along either road. I'm concerned that adding 28 additional units whose only access is through either of those roads will cause headaches on these narrow, low-use streets. These are not streets you want to be meeting other vehicles head-on, which currently does not happen often due to their low use. Usage will increase greatly if this development occurs as proposed. So my concern isn't with the pure development of the parcel in general, but rather the mismatch between the density of the development with the access. We are talking anywhere from 15 to 56 extra vehicles per day on these two narrow roads coming and going, plus additional vehicles such as delivery vehicles and so on. The developers appear to not think this will be a problem based on their application. As such, they don't provide any potential actions to mitigate the said potential problem. If the request is approved, time will tell whether or not the increased traffic will cause the headaches I think it will. I have some concerns regarding parking as well. I see that the developers are proposing 2 parking spaces per unit for a total of 56 parking spaces, which I hope is enough to reduce spillover into the neighborhood, which has already has limited parking opportunities. If the parking lot fills up on a daily basis, but there's still a need for parking, it will be difficult for people to find parking in the adjacent residential streets due to the nature of the streets. Plus, that would take parking away from the residents along those streets, and it's already limited. Selfishly, I will also be quite sad to see the degradation of the view shed. So due to the 1- and 2-story nature of the surrounding homes, we all have great views of Brush, Sinking Creek, and Salt Pond Mountains, as well as Kelly Knob. When I moved here from Ohio, that view was one of my favorite things about this neighborhood. Unfortunately, the proposed development will block out a significant portion of that view for me and the others who live in that neighborhood. Again, a selfish complaint, but one this commission and the developer should at least be aware of, as I know I'm not the only resident to have this concern. Overall, I acknowledge the need for additional housing, and I applaud attempts to help meet that demand. However, I want development to be done thoughtfully and with careful consideration of potential risks, and when and where risks are identified, actions to be taken to mitigate said risks. This proposed development in its current form raises several concerns without any proposed mitigation to address those concerns. It goes further and actually requests the Planning Commission granted exceptions and deviations to the current standards to build a taller, denser facility. Given the location and the roadway constraints, I believe that while it will help alleviate some housing demand in the broader region, it will likely create new issues in that immediate neighborhood. There has to be a balance here. With that, I want to thank the members of the Planning Commission for the opportunity to speak. Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, yep, so we're just asking if, we're during the public hearing time, so just come up to the podium, state your name, address, and we're limiting comments to about 5 minutes.
My name is Diane Gabriel, and I live on Evans Street, so that's not my neighborhood, but it's my daughter's, and more importantly, my little granddaughter's. So actually, my husband grew up in that neighborhood. And we knew Mr. Aubrey. I called him Mr. Aubrey, but I forget his last name, but he lived there forever. And he lived next door to my daughter. So I got to know about the history of the neighborhood. The roads are narrow. There are no sidewalks. There are a lot of children and and dogs. People walk their dogs. I think the neighborhood was established maybe in the 40s, late 30s, early 40s. And at that point, it was kind of like the it neighborhood, according to Aubrey. There were doctors and lawyers, so it has a lot of history because, and they called it Longview because it's amazing. You can see all the mountains around you. But how can I expect my little 5-year-old granddaughter to be outside where she plays safely now? Of course, under the guidance of my daughter, and she has a service dog, and be safe in a neighborhood that's suddenly going to be inundated with traffic on streets that are not equipped to accommodate that kind of traffic. And it's just unbelievable to me. I grew up in New York, and even in New York, in my little suburb in Long Island, in Oceanside, they took consideration to streets and traffic before they stuck in a subdivision. And that was back in the 60s. So I don't understand what's happened here in Christiansburg, how you could take this development and put it in an area that's not really appropriate to be developed. I mean, maybe that piece of property is, but going through the old neighborhood like that and putting my granddaughter in jeopardy, no, I just cannot see that happening. It wouldn't have happened where I grew up in the 1960s in a New York suburb. It's happening here in 2025 in Christiansburg. That makes no sense for the demographics. Anyway, I'm pleading because of the safety of my grandchild. I don't want it there. And I think a lot of the other neighbors know there are other children in the neighborhood and small dogs that get walked and elderly people that walk with walkers and canes. And suddenly they're going to have traffic that's coming in all way directions. It's really inappropriate. If you can find another way to get the traffic into that place, that would be great. But not through this old neighborhood that doesn't even have, I don't think it has the infrastructure to support that kind of traffic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, my name's Ruel Edson. I live on 101 Angle Drive, which is right there, the lot at the corner of First and Angle. So I'm not really happy about this, to be honest. We've lived in that house for about 10 years. When we moved in, it was a much older neighborhood. There are a lot of younger families moving in there now. I have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. In the house next to it there on First Street, they have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. It's a great place for kids to hang out and play. It's a nice, quiet street. A lot of people park on that corner on the 4th of July to watch fireworks. The traffic is a concern, mainly because there is no good egress out on Angle, so it's going to be going all down First Street. It is a narrow street. Then when you make a turn onto Highview, that is also a narrow street. And then, yeah. I'm not, given that that will be the primary access for construction, that will obviously not be great for me as it's being built, or my family, or the neighbors at 405 on First. I know that there is a community plan for residential development. It sounds like these are lots of 1-bedroom and 2 bedrooms in these apartments. That sounds a lot like more towards a student population, just if we're being honest. The larger macro of some of this of the student enrollment is supposed to be declining over the next 5 to 10 years by about 15%. And then we have some empty or unused building units. Not sure. I think that's all that I have to say. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Olivia Brooks. I live at 114 Longview Drive, which is just at the end of Angle Drive there. I just wanted to sort of echo everyone's concerns about the amount of traffic that there's going to be along those roads, especially with regards to people walking around that neighborhood. There are lots and lots of people who walk around that neighborhood at all hours of the day and at the night. People walking with small children, people walking with their dogs, and just an increase in traffic, I think, is not going to be safe. There are no sidewalks in this neighborhood, and so it's not an option to be out of the road. You have to walk in the road if you're going to walk around, and people very much love doing that in this neighborhood. I personally run in the morning along Angle Drive and First Street, and I won't be able to do that anymore if there's this increase in traffic when everyone is going to work in the morning. And I run along those streets in particular because they're some of the flattest in that neighborhood. So that's a big deal for me. But yeah, the biggest issue that I have is just the streets are too narrow to support that kind of high volume two-way traffic, and it's also going to make it not safe for the people who like to walk around and enjoy that neighborhood. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, seeing none, at this point, we are closing the public hearing. So now what's going to happen is Planning Commission will discuss, so we'll ask questions to the town, we'll ask questions to the applicants, based on our own questions, based on concerns that you all brought up this evening. At this point, there is no further conversation from citizens for the rest of the meeting. So I do ask that you hold your comments and your questions. And then we will either take action this evening if we feel like we have enough information, or we can hold and take action at our next scheduled meeting, which is Monday, December 15th. So, but before we leave this evening, you'll know whether we make a recommendation or whether we hold for one more meeting. So, all right, at this point now, commissioners, I'm going to open it to you. Questions, comments?
I have a question for Steve. So you've indicated the access is on the far right-hand side corner there.
Yes, sir.
Was there any other access considered to have a multi-access to this property?
We looked at options to get here on Christmas Street, Chrisman, get off of that access right there, specifically along, across from First, right here at this intersection. We couldn't get the grades to work because of that drop off right there. We weren't able to get the grades to work to come off the street right there. That was the main reason. Ideally, that would be where you would want to. The second reason is as we were looking at getting grading up there, we weren't able to capture the water coming off of that drive in our stormwater area. Stormwater is a big issue, as I mentioned earlier, coming down Chrisman right there, so we're doing a lot of improvements in that section, but that would have been some additional water we couldn't have captured within our stormwater facility, but primarily because of the grading.
Okay, and the second question I have is, we talked about sidewalks. Can you point out where the sidewalks would go?
We would have sidewalks around our parcel here, and then there would be new sidewalk going in right here along Chrisman. We only have frontage right here in this little angle of Angle and First. So, with the way the road comes in there, there's no, we could put maybe a little spot of sidewalk right there that would be required by code if engineering determined we needed to. But, we don't have frontage all the way down First or Angle to install sidewalk across there.
That's where I was going, to see if there was room for additional sidewalks. Thank you.
So as far as the width of the roads go, we'll go ahead and talk about this, right? Because most people are, that's the biggest concern. And I'm sorry, I'm very hoarse today. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. So when we look at Angle and First for emergency purposes, fire trucks, ambulances, how is that? How, I'm sure that's statewide road. It's like, it's got the state maximum width, minimum width, I guess, right? Have we measured the roads there?
I haven't measured all the way down First. I know we haven't had any input from engineering as we were going through the site plan about concerns for.
And they've seen it, engineering has seen
We'd
it.
gone through a full site plan for the 20 units.
Okay,
You know, so we've gone through several reviews with planning and engineering staff.
okay.
That said, there is right-of-way. The right-of-way, you can kind of see in these black lines here, there is room, you know, if the town in the future wanted to, you know, widen that section of road in there. I'm sure it's not the town standard 30 feet, you know, that we would have to build a new road to today. So I can't say exactly how wide First
Okay.
Street is all the way down.
Okay,
I can get that information for you.
just curious, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be, thank you. And just to make sure my math is, so by right, y'all could have done 20 units. You're looking at doing 28 units. So we're looking at 8 units in addition to the by right that you all were already have
Yes, ma'am.
access to.
And I guess, just to clarify that for everyone, by right, meaning that R3, they can put in those units, not the full 28, but 20 units if they so desired, without any CUP from us or approval.
Which was the original plan.
Correct. And as the question about traffic was brought up, obviously, a number of times by our neighbors. So we did include this in our application. As you all know, we do a trip generation. So we look at, you know, primarily at those peak hours in the morning and in the afternoon. So apartments typically produce less trips per day than a single-family house because you've got typically less people in those units, and it's less trips out. You know, not everybody's taking their kids to soccer practice or gymnastics and the grocery store. So we looked at this, and we just do it per unit. So we don't even take into account that we've got, you know, one-bedroom units in there. So, again, in theory, there are less trips coming out of a one-bedroom than you would think would come out of a three-bedroom unit. So we just look at it per unit. And during those peak hours, that peak hour of traffic in the morning and peak hour in the afternoon, we're estimating only a total of 10 trips during that peak hour in the morning and 11 trips during that peak hour in the afternoon. So the trips that you'd see from the overall project, just like we all do, they're trips that are spread over the course of a full working day. Well, working day plus, you know, so that full day. But those peak hours are the ones where you see the primary trips coming in and out of a development, a subdivision, you know, an apartment complex in the morning or in the afternoon. So again, while we do have those 28 units, it is a very small number of trips per day that are going to be coming out there during those peak hours.
Do we have any data on folks who would maybe live in downtown or apartments and access to, like, using public transit instead of car riders, vehicles? I mean, part of the benefit to living downtown is that you have more access to public transit. You have access to get around without a vehicle. But do we have any data from the town?
Not currently.
Talks about our behavior of residents. Okay.
And Steve, these would be rental units, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Market rate rental units, yes, sir.
okay.
What is that right now, out of curiosity? Or what do you anticipate the rental rate to be for a one-bedroom unit versus like a three-bedroom unit?
We haven't run up to 24 units, I think. Pepper's Ferry, Madison is running out like 800 a bed or so.
Is it gonna be similar to Madison?
It's a
The concept?
similar architectural style. 2 years from now, you know, costs could change. So.
Sure.
So you're thinking $800 roughly a bed?
But
Market is now. Just, okay, thanks. And I want to make sure also that was on the recording since, okay.
And we did have a note, Chairperson Kanice, as far as distance to the transit stops.
Yeah.
So we had that in there. So
Yeah.
anywhere between 0.15 and 0.28 miles, depending on where those.
Yeah, I saw that, which seems to me, the point of choosing a downtown location is that you have access without having to drive a vehicle.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the benefits to living and to renting a spot there. Okay. Commissioners, other comments, questions?
Question for staff. First Street Southwest, it has a gap there, so it could, in theory, be connected, those two ends, and you'd have a throughway. So so tenants could go First Street and connect down on Fligger and be closer to, the main roads. So those First Street's super narrow through there.
GIS and showing all of that.
Are you asking about?
Yeah, I'm just like, angle juts out of an existing neighborhood. It seems kind of odd that would be used as an access point to this new one.
You're saying because he said they couldn't do it because of the grade? Is that what you're asking about? A different access point?
No, I'm just saying, like, First Street runs continuous, but it's not being utilized. There's First Street Southwest, and there's a big gap there where this apartments would be, but the two don't connect.
Parcel.
And then First Street, if you come up First Street from Fligger Street, it's super narrow. So I thought that was where the access point was gonna be. I'm like, how are they gonna do that when that road is barely a car width wide?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, they're coming through up on Highview instead. So it's a really tough turn to get on this First Street that I didn't even really know was there. It doesn't get much use.
I use First Street a lot.
Then the folks on Longview, they have that nice tight little neighborhood, very narrow little neighborhood, and it seems like making it a throughway to get onto Angle seems.
So what would be your recommendation? Because if he's saying that the grade can't work to get to Chrisman out to First, what's your idea or recommendation on how we can do it differently?
Not an expert in planning, but
Yeah.
it seems like that First Street would be all the way across, and then, so you could come in off Fligger and come off Highview. I don't know. I just think that, you know me about
Yeah.
me and my neighborhood protection. I think
Yeah.
that little neighborhood there on Longview, that's a really cool little neighborhood. And it's very narrow. And then for people to swing in and go on Angle to reach the new development, it seems like it disturbs the neighborhood a lot. But, I mean, it's by right, but it just seems odd that the roads are so narrow getting into it. They're very narrow.
Yes, by right, they could put 20 apartments in without even talking to us,
Yeah, that's
which would impact the neighborhoods no matter what.
I did want to note that strip of First Street where that gap is, that portion of right-of-way had been vacated previously. So that's not right-of-way through there. That's now private parcels.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Can you? Okay.
It's flipped from what you were
Yeah.
looking at before.
Yes, okay, thank you for helping me. Okay. Because your question is, why isn't it connected? I mean, I feel like it shouldn't even be called First Street. It just feels like it should be called Angle.
I had a question, but before that, I will say pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3112, Section B1, and 2.2-3115, Section H, I am declaring that I am a member of one of three or more businesses that may be affected by agenda items 4 and 5. As the owner of an electrical and electronic security contractor, I am able to participate in the discussion and voting on this matter fairly, objectively, and in the public interest. So I had a question for staff. Is the planned housing development, I'm a little unfamiliar with that. Is that something that's by right in an R3, or is that something that's special over top? Like, does the planned housing development trigger the conditional use, or, okay.
Would you say that into the microphone just so folks on the recording?
Yeah. Oh.
That would be a yes.
Yes. Planned housing development in R3 is a conditional use permit process.
Okay, and its main function would be what, to give more density?
Yeah, usually it's more density, and it has the ability to have slight variations in the other design features that would be required in R3.
Gotcha.
But to be specific, they've spelled out the differences.
Right.
Right.
Because that would be 40-ish units if they tried to do a planned housing development. Since it's 2 acres, it's 20 units per acre. And we're looking at less than that.
Yes. Correct.
So that was one difference that I don't think I spelled out specifically in the staff report, was in addition to wanting more units per building, wanting increased height. Yes, you would need that planned housing development, this conditional use permit for planned housing in order to have that increased density. What they're asking for is greater than the density that's allowed in by right R3 and less than what is allowable when you use a planned housing development.
Because we're looking at 20 units by right, 40 units with a planned housing development, and what's being requested is 28 units. If I got my math right, cool.
Yes, that sounds right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Chair, if I could expand on your comments
Please
about
do.
transit earlier, I will say, I think a lot of people, as a downtown resident myself, I think a lot more people also walk and bike because of that too, because of that proximity to things. And I think you'll see some of that here, so.
Yes. I think that is where we're seeing, especially also over by the mall, people choosing to live where they can access places. And we've seen that in the housing demand reports that we've seen, that people want to be able to walk, bus, and bike places, not use vehicles. I hear the concerns about students. That feels pretty far out for students to live there. It's not saying that they won't, but that is pretty far out for a student to live. And I will say our housing need is so high that if for some reason Virginia Tech or Radford saw a decrease in population, I think Christiansburg need for population would still fill those buildings. So I don't know that based on the data that we have seen and where students are living, that if for any reason there was a decrease. I will also note Virginia Tech is one of the rare institutions in this country that is seeing an increase in enrollment and a rise rather than what we're seeing a lot of higher education universities across the nation with a decrease. But I do know when people see apartments, they get concerned about students. So I think that's a very reasonable concern. I don't know, though, in this area that that's the population that we would see, unless someone on commission thinks otherwise or staff.
No. We agree.
Other comments or questions from the commissioners?
Staff, is there a requirement to have a second access point, and that's why Angle and First are access points for it? Is that what? They just need two? Why it couldn't just be First, and Angle not be, like Angle be stubbed off or something like that, so it wouldn't be a throughway?
I'm not sure what you,
Well,
Are you asking if they could block off access to Angle, and so the
Or-
apartment
yeah, so-
complex
so-
users
so
have to go
Longview is-
first to Highview?
yeah, so that way Longview is not used as a entrance for the complex. There must be 35 houses in there in Longview. There's a bunch. Just a question.
it's not a requirement.
So is that something that's been considered? I mean, what would the town say about that? That's an interesting question. I also don't know how the residents would feel about their road being blocked off. But I'm guessing that as that's an interesting perspective.
So I'm not entirely sure how that would work. It is, what I see proposed is just the one entrance that happens to come in right at the bend. That goes, between Angle and First. I don't see two entrances when I look at the concept plan.
The drawing showed Angle and First is both.
Because it's on the corner.
Yeah, what I've seen just goes directly into the corner there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're asking one way in and one way out? Is
I
that
think
what
he's
you're
pretty much saying, like, can you block the road so that way no one would go to
Yeah, the
Angle
circle of
until,
Longview there. It looks like, seems to me that people will come up Second Street, zip through Longview and cut into the complex. That might be easier access than coming up Highview during traffic times.
And you're asking, is there a way to shut off access? Like,
Asking if it's been,
if it's been,
if they've looked at it. Sure it could be done.
That has not been looked at.
And it may not be something the neighborhood wants. This is what I was, thought it might be a way to protect those homes.
I mean, I think it's an interesting question, and I think it's a creative way to problem solve the density, the issue, then that we need the housing, but also wanting to protect. And I mean, a lot of what we see around Christiansburg right now is a backfill. I mean, that's the space that we have available. So how do we protect the neighborhoods, which is what we've talked about pretty much all year when we have this space. So I think it's an interesting, creative way to consider kind of finding a compromise.
Which, that may cause an issue with emergency services, though, if that's the case, because of the turnaround.
There's only 2 homes on Angle, though.
I'm thinking about those, the ones that are the first one that pops up is in Blacksburg, where they make it the walkable, and they have the ones that you can put into the ground, they pop up or they come down. So when you want to shut off and have a walking path, you can have the posts that either pop up from the ground or you stick them in, but they're easily removable for emergency services, so they can get around, but it prevents access. That's what I had in my head when you asked that question. Is that something that we can even just look into? What even would that, I think I'd be curious to hear the town's response to an idea like that. Who has the authority? Who pays for it? How is that even decided? What are the safety concerns, if any, related to an idea like that?
Yeah, that would be a conversation with engineering.
Yeah,
We
it
could
might
do
be a
that.
no-go, but I'd like to hear their thoughts on it.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, it would also need to go to street committee.
Yeah. Commissioners, other comments or questions? So I'm in a place where I'm not ready to make a decision tonight. I think there's some more information that I would like. Is there additional information that you all would like for our next meeting? Okay. I know. I would like to encourage, I know, just, most commissioners, we do drive around and check out our sites beforehand, but I would like to encourage all commissioners, if you have not had an opportunity before tonight's meeting, to please go and check out the neighborhood. So you might see some more traffic, but that way we can get a feel again for the roads, the space, the neighborhoods. I will say our position here is challenging, right? Because we hear your concerns about the neighborhood. We hear your concerns about the children, about the walking. I want to be clear that no matter what we say, they could do 20 apartments no matter what. So you would still have all of your concerns, they'd still have apartments, people living there. So what we're really looking at is adding 8 more units to the space. It is in alignment with the comprehensive plan. It's in alignment with what we need for Christiansburg. It's in alignment with what we've heard about housing needs and location of housing, affordability of housing. So as commissioners, we're constantly trying to balance our recommendation to the town council on what concerns community members have, and also the other part, which is the need that community members have for housing, affordable housing, and in good locations. I think it's also important to note that we make a recommendation. So we're not taking action tonight. We're going to come back. Our meeting is on Monday, December 15th at 7 p.m. in this space. And at that point in time, we're going to make a recommendation to town council. And so what we do is we try and take the information that we have and we make the best recommendation based on what we see as data and future planning for Christiansburg to town council. At that point in time, town council then has a public hearing where you're allowed to come in, share your thoughts and concerns. Town council role is different than planning commissions. Ours is to look at the information and make a recommendation. They look at all of that, and it could be all good, They also listen to citizens, right? They're your elected officials. So that would be another opportunity that you could go before town council, share your concerns, and then they also take that into consideration before they make their decision. So if you don't have it on your calendar, the public hearing for this will be Tuesday, January 13th at 7 o'clock. And then from that meeting, you'll find out when they plan to take action, because we still need to get the calendar approved. But Commissioners, any other comments before we close item 4 and move on to item 5?
I'll just, excuse me, I might be a little hoarse too. I've been outside all day, but I lived on Second and Christman. That's actually the first place I lived at when I relocated here from Maryland. I like the idea of the development. I am concerned about the access point because when my children were younger, we used to walk up and down those neighborhoods as well. That's my only concern right now is that access on coming from First and Angle. Kind of torn there. Do I think it'll work? Yes, but it will be some major changes to how the neighborhood operates right now. So that's my main concern right now is just that access point. I think Steve's been hearing our comments for years as far as what we ask for. And he's been, and I said it the last meeting, I said it again, you did a good job of addressing all the concerns that I would initially think about. But I am a little concerned about the access there because those roads are very narrow. I've walked those roads many times years ago when I lived down here. That is my only concern. I will say, that's all I have to say about the development though.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, at this time, we're going to close item 4 of the public hearing, and we will move on to, that's item 5, discussion and action. Item 4. Now we're going to move on to item 5, discussion and action related to a different topic. You're welcome to stay and here, or you're welcome to quietly exit while we continue our meeting, however your evening plans need you. So we're going to move on to item 5, discussion and action related to A, plat showing dedication of right-of-way for Underwood Street Northwest in the vicinity of tax parcels 526-24-6A7. And thank you for all the children watching for putting an A between those two numbers. If I hear those two numbers said again. Staff, do you have an update for us? 3-year-old says those numbers. I'm like, you don't even know. Stop saying those numbers.
Okay. The property in question is a 0.019 acre portion of tax parcels 526-24-6A and 7, located on the eastern side of Underwood Street Northwest. The owner has requested to re-subdivide the property. As the existing right-of-way abutting the property is less than 50 feet in width, the dedication of right-of-way is required by Town Code Section 42-27K. Based on Town Code, the subdivider is required to dedicate, quote, sufficient land along the entire road frontage of the subdivision or re-subdivision so that there will be available sufficient land to widen to a minimum of 50 feet should a like dedication be made in the event of a future subdivision or re-subdivision occurring directly across the street. In other words, they would need to dedicate half of what is missing. Underwood Drive here has a right-of-way width of 30 feet, so they would need to dedicate 10 feet, and the property across from them in the future would need to dedicate 10 feet to make up the required 50 feet.
Thank you.
So it is, let's see if this works, this little guy right here.
Got it.
So this is very similar to what we did on Stafford a couple meetings ago, right?
It is
Yep.
almost identical, just change Stafford for Underwood.
Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
No, none.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, let's do roll call.
Vice Chairperson Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Curtis.
Aye.
Commissioner Day.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Lyman.
Aye.
Commissioner Scary.
Aye.
Commissioner Sowers.
Aye.
Chairperson Kenise.
Aye. All right, it passes 8-0. Thank you. All right, moving on from item number 5, on to item number 6, other business. Is there any other business, staff?
I have a meeting that I will be going to tomorrow up in Lexington, and it's the I-81 Commission.
Oh, boy.
So I will bring back some information for all of you and share it with you. So there are some updates, and there are some new projects, and be happy to share that with everyone when I get back.
That'd be great.
Leave early if you're going through Salem.
What's that?
Leave early if you're going through Salem.
Yeah, yeah. It's not till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So.
Well,
So right after the ice melts.
yeah, nope.
I'll be driving on 77 tomorrow at 7:30. Wish me luck. The parade, Friday, December 12th, and the market. So if it's not on your calendar yet, go downtown on Friday, December 12th, and participate in Christiansburg.
Christmas tree lighting at what, 5:30?
6:45, 6:50, I thought. The market starts at 4:30.
Come by the museum.
Yeah.
Come by the museum.
Are you going to be there?
Should be there, yeah. A
Perfect.
volunteer at the museum, great place.
Wonderful.
And the museum's doing the Parade of Homes this Saturday.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
I have heard about other places doing that. I didn't know that this Sunday, Saturday?
Saturday,
Oh,
10 to 4.
10 to 4. How do you Parade of Homes?
The Oaks, the Junkin House, I know are two of those.
I love the Junkin House.
Junkin House is amazing.
The one behind the Oaks is also on there too.
And my house is on there, guys. So you guys can all come.
And we're,
expect-
110. 110
Expect
East Main.
cookies.
Yeah,
East
there are
Main.
cookies, actually, yeah.
oh, then
Yeah.
I probably walk by your house all the time.
There you
I
go.
will say, speaking of sidewalks, I'm so happy to see sidewalks going in on Main Street down where I live. We are done pushing strollers, so we missed the opportunity of not getting hit by cars. We avoided them. But now we can have our kids run up and down that massive hill. So I am super pumped about sidewalks on Main Street.
Yeah.
And that was done with HUD funding.
Yes, I know y'all been doing great. Are y'all going to go all the way down the hill to Depot Street?
I don't think it goes all the way to Depot. No, not with this project.
Okay, I mean, I
Not
know
with
not
this
Fix that
funding.
concrete, huh?
I mean, I imagine not too many people walk up and down the hill, but I do. And I also see this kid run up the hill to get to his house from the school bus. So you might appreciate sidewalks. So, awesome. All right, to the Parade of Homes. Great. Any other fun things happening in the community that folks want to share or things they're doing?
I just have one more comment. Thank you, officer, for showing up tonight.
Yep.
Appreciate your support.
Both of you.
Appreciate it.
And I just wanted to clarify, next meeting, December 15th, we don't have anything at 5:30 that day, right?
Correct.
Nope,
Okay.
just 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. And that will probably be our last meeting for the year, correct? Okay, so I make sure there's nothing, that's going to be a hard sell that other Monday that technically we have a meeting on the calendar for, to get people back in town, or even just get out of their PJs. So. All right, if nothing else.
Wait
we
a
will-
second. Sorry.
Yep, I'll
I
go for it.
got my messages from the PR department. The market starts at 5, and then Santa's coming to town starts on Saturday.
Yes, so Santa comes to my house on Monday, December 8th on the fire truck. But he's starting that on Saturday? Okay.
6th to the 10th, right? 6th to the,
Is it 6th to the 10th?
6th to the 10th, correct?
So if you want to see Santa on the fire truck,
Katie might send me the message.
check
on
out,
that in just a moment.
check out, it is on Facebook page. You can check out when Santa's coming by your neighborhood. So,
She
On
said
the-
6 to 10.
On the
6 to
tours,
10,
on the
yep.
tours, the museum is still looking for a few volunteers. If you'd like to lead a tour of one of the homes, you learn a great deal about the house and show people around who come in.
if I was
Still
not on
looking for a
boat
few
retreat, I
folks.
would do that. That's really cool.
That would be fun.
Anything else? All right, 7:59. We'll adjourn the meeting before 8 o'clock. Thank you all.
Thank you.